Hi, this is Brendan from A13, and in this tutorial we're going to look at Assignment 13, Section 6, and the student is Barry Suckling. Barry has just completed his Q-Safe driving assessment. He is male, the class is HC Open, the time 8:45 a.m, location Maryborough, and below is the assessment number of the report. We can see on the left side of the page there the driver assessment report, and I've just put an arrow to show you that the errors are as follows. A non-critical driving error for gears, excessive crashing, incorrect selection, braking, late, abrupt braking, mirrors, stairs too long in mirror on roundabout, and had to take evasive action to avoid traffic island. Late turn signal, stopped over stop line, uncouple, recouple, out of sequence, lacks judgment on lane change. My first strategy for Barry would be to work on applying the system of vehicle control. That initiative will take care of a lot of his driving issues. So by application of the system, that will ensure that the vehicle will be in the correct place on the road, traveling at the correct speed, and with the correct gear engaged. I'd also be working on Barry's observation, scanning, and mirror checks. Barry needs to monitor the road environment in every direction as appropriate to the driving task. Scanning means a driver takes in the whole scene, 360 degrees around their vehicle. So again, work on system of vehicle control and work on a scanning routine. Now, Barry needs to work on his hazard recognition. That taps into both of those techniques. A hazard can be any possible source of danger on or near the road that could lead to a crash, and it can come from any direction. It could be a child chasing a ball onto the road, parked car door opening, vehicle merging into your lane or suddenly stopping in front of you, slippery road surface after rain. The scanning routine is as follows. Scan up to 12 seconds ahead and check his mirrors every 8 to 10 seconds. That's just in general. Keep his eyes on the move and use his peripheral vision. Peripheral vision is a part of the vision that occurs outside the very center of gaze. Prioritize hazards. This will happen if Barry uses what's called a driving plan. A driving plan will assist Barry to anticipate hazards, order hazards in importance, and decide what action to take. So if we look at this example here, right in front of us we've got a keep clear sign. So as Barry comes up, we've also got a red light, we've got traffic moving through the intersection, and if he was to take a left, there's a pedestrian crossing as well. So there's quite a bit going on in this situation. Let's just say if he's going straight ahead, he's got to make sure that there's enough space to fit his semi-trailer in between the stop line up at the traffic lights and the keep clear. If not, he needs to stop prior, which is done in this example. Okay, maintain his crash avoidance space. A safe, low-risk driver maintains a crash avoidance space completely around the vehicle. The crash avoidance space is managed by adjusting the vehicle's speed and road position. To determine the crash avoidance space to the front of the vehicle, you need to take into account two factors: reaction time and response time. Reaction time is the time the driver needs to see the information, perceive what it means, decide on a response, and instigate that response. Response time is the time required to take action. Generally, a minimum of 1.5 seconds is needed to respond. In many situations, braking may be the only possible response. Swerving is rarely appropriate and can result in a more severe crash, for example, a head-on collision. Let's take a look at the performance expectation for braking. Barry should use the brakes in a manner that is appropriate for the situation. In general, the brake should slow the vehicle smoothly and progressively. So if Barry works on his observation and scanning up ahead of what's happening, prioritizes the hazards, then he will be more likely to respond early and create space and time to brake smoothly. Also, we need to work on Barry's gears. They're not up to standard. Let's have a look at the performance outcome for gears. The applicant should demonstrate correct usage of all the gears appropriate for speed, vehicle, and driving conditions. All heavy vehicle gear changes should be made within the optimum rev range for the vehicle. So he needs to be more familiar with the gear pattern and the gear ranges as well. Signaling. Barry should signal in the correct direction long enough to give sufficient warning to other drivers and pedestrians when intending to turn, diverge, move into the edge of the road or curb, enter a line of traffic, and at a T section where the continuing road curves to the left or right, leaving the continuing road to proceed straight ahead onto the terminating road. We also, coming back to the system of vehicle control, need to work on Barry's skills of judgment. Barry should judge and utilize a safe gap in traffic when negotiating intersections, lane changing, or merging, and without causing other road users to take evasive action. One of the big shifts from going up to the higher classes of vehicle is the size of the vehicle. So Barry, now making a lane change in a semi-trailer, needs a lot more space and time to move over. Barry needs to make correct decisions when required and respond appropriately with regard to judgment of the speed and distance of any traffic or pedestrians. So you would successfully develop that skill in lane driving situations, like multi-lane traffic situations. Signs, signals, and road markings. Barry should obey any regulatory road sign, traffic signal, or road marking. Barry is required to bring the vehicle to a stop as described in the road rules, as close as practicable to, but not over the line, if there is no line before reaching the traffic lights. So again, how would you practice this? You would practice this by taking Barry to intersections with stop signs. So you need to know your circuits of where you're training to be able to take the student to the areas that will bring the skills to the fore. Non-critical driving error. Barry brings the vehicle to a stop with the vehicle protruding marginally over the stop line. Okay, critical driving error, disobeys a stop line, including driving through a stop sign at any speed, even if it's slow. You must completely stop the vehicle and then look, and then when clear, moving off. Not stopping the vehicle at a stop line, or if there is no stop line, as near as practicable to, but before the intersection. Stopping at the stop line. For the purposes of Q-Safe, stopping at the stop line means stopping within 1 meter of the stop line. However, in some cases, this may not be practicable, and the DE, driving examiner, is required to make a judgment based on the traffic conditions at the time. Critical driving error. Stopping with the vehicle over the stop line or intersection to the extent that it could cause potentially dangerous situation. More on stop signs, critical driving error. At a stop sign, it is acceptable for the driver to make a correct stop and then move forward for the safe distance beyond the stop line, sign, or intersection to increase vision before proceeding, provided approaching traffic is not impeding. So the critical factor there is they must stop first at the stop line. If they look to the left and the right and there could be some sort of a block out like a vehicle, then they can creep forward and look. So we say creep, lean, and look. Okay, there was also an error for the sequence of the Class HC uncouple recouple. An applicant for the Class HC license is required to uncouple the trailer, drive forward approximately 10 meters, and then reverse back onto the trailer to recouple, ready to drive off. Performance expectation. The applicant should be able to uncouple, recouple the trailer, having regard for all safe practices in the correct sequence within approximately 12 minutes. Thanks for watching. This has been Brendan from Watto Training.